like credit card and personal loan outstanding right now, it's around 17,000 crores.
If you're a small fintech, you're typically working with 10 to 12 collection agencies. If you're a larger bank, you can go all the way up to like HDFC and all.
100. Like my customer support team is 30, my debt collection team is 300, and at times people cross the boundaries to collect debt because they are incentivized to collect debt.
You are dealing with your call center team. You are dealing with call center team of like other people's collection agencies, and you have a lot less oversight into what is going on in these calls.
Thank you so much, guys, Ankit, Abhishek, for joining, and welcome to the Smallest podcast. I think this is one of the first episodes we are doing. We have been doing podcasts previously, but I think we took a pause in between, and this time the aim has been that there are a lot of incredible AI products that are getting shipped at various levels, and the applications of AI in industry is something that is more exciting than the actual research, right? Because it has to be useful. You guys are one of those founders who are actually building something application and in a very large industry. So we'll walk through this journey of yours and sort of try to understand why you went into this, what excites you, how's the journey been so far, what lies ahead, and so on. A little bit about me. I am Sudarshan, co-founder of Smallest.ai. We build foundational multimodal agents for mostly large enterprises, and we also do research around voice models, etc. Um, and yeah, super excited to have you. Would love to, maybe we could start off with a small background, maybe about both of you as to how was your journey before starting Riverline.
Sounds good. So I'll get
Yeah,
started. Hey,
yeah,
I'm Ankit. I'm with one of the co-founders of Riverline. Riverline, I can speak about just very briefly. We saw that there was a divide in the way that banks were resolving bad loans, where they used to run like massive call centers in an unscalable way to just reach out to defaulters and resolve loans. We build AI agents that do that, particularly right now across AI voice calls and AI WhatsApp agents. Before Riverline, did my undergrad in civil in college itself, building different products, even interning at early stage companies. After that, did a master's, which did not give any returns. Sudarshan would be a good person to tell more about that.
yeah, yeah,
So yeah,
yeah.
reached out to old friends from Insti, started this.
Yeah.
What about you, Abhishek?
Yeah. So I was born and brought up in Nagpur, and then like we studied in the same college, and both from civil department. So like when I entered the college, like I had this mindset of building my own company. So tried 3 4 different ideas during my entire uh, university duration. Nothing panned out, but Riverline is doing good. So that's
Nice, nice. I think what is common about all three of us is like we are all from Maharashtra. Like I was born in Mumbai, you guys are from Nagpur, etc. So I didn't know that, by the way. This is something new I learned. But did you guys know each other when you were in Nagpur? Like, were
No,
you
I was in
always
Mumbai.
friends? You
Met
were in
in,
Mumbai.
yeah, I grew up in Mumbai.
yeah.
Okay, interesting. But yeah, cool. So, and then in college, did you know each other?
Yeah.
Yeah. So college, actually, we both were building our own startups. That's how, and we used to sit in the same incubator. That's how we got to know each other. And we used to discuss
Okay.
idea, and like he used to solve my technical problems a lot.
We used to reach out to him for something. We would brainstorm on ideas. We've like done hackathons and some pitch
Hmm.
competitions together also. So we knew that like
Yeah.
worst comes to worst, like even if you want to brainstorm an idea or be sad about your day and
Yeah.
someone should listen,
Yeah.
it's basically us and the third person. So that's how we came together as a team. So team came first, startup came later. Actually, idea,
Nice,
clarity, product, all of it.
nice. Nice. I think, yeah, I mean, the team is all that matters, right? Like at the early stage, you could always sort of go about any idea. What was the uh, so you said you worked in bunch of startups in college. What was that like? What was that for you, Abhishek? What was that for you, Ankit? What were you working on?
So when I started like earlier, this is the first time founder ideas wherein like I'll do something fancy with tech. I'm an engineer, so I built AR based food menus wherein people can see dishes on in front of them in table. But after putting in 3 4 months into building that and like trying to sell, I figured soon figure out that as long as anything that doesn't bring more money to their business, they won't buy. They People in India don't buy fancy things. At least the
Hmm.
segment that I was serving to, that didn't pan out.
Hmm.
Then I figured out, okay, let's do something in consumer that seems very exciting, and like let's upload an app on Play Store and like have more and more downloads. I built a consumer app for personal finance. Soon figured out Indian macroeconomics doesn't support it in terms like people don't pay for productivity apps in India or management apps in India. And then finally figured out, okay, B2B SaaS is the way to go forward for a student founder, because
Okay.
that's when it's like problem statement is clear, money is direct. That's when
Hmm.
solved for health insurance problem. Market was really small in India, claim automation part of it. Yeah, that was all.
And you, Ankit, what was it for you?
Mine was in third year last sem. So basically, I didn't get a CS course because I was from civil, and the reason I didn't get is because you have to do some prerequisite before, which I didn't know in my first year. And the thing is, a lot of people that I spoke to were facing this issue where when they start off in STE, they'll just do courses which other friends are doing or someone will recommend without having a clarity of how their interests pan out. Because in your like, pre-final and final years, you can only pick specialization in certain courses for things you've studied before. So I was very pissed I didn't get a CS course. I tried to email Dean and everyone. They also didn't listen. So then I was like, this is a proper problem. So I built a simple tool where you could go and select, like, type in search, you could see a course. And if you liked it, you could like see what all you have to do to get to it. And this was something I called Course Map. I launched it. That was a very shitty product because it was just a graph. And then I realized that what people really care about is planning their journey and studying what other people did. So that's when I made a simple product where you could just plan out like your 8 semesters or 10 semesters. You could study what other people had done and like how they did minors and honors and all sorts of interesting things. Students don't pay. Institute was pissed that to build this we had hacked them. So me and Jayant actually built this product.
Oh,
So,
wow.
so Institute didn't like that we had hacked them to build the product because we wanted to even tell students what courses to take based on average CGPA across the years. So we had to get
Hmm.
that data. So we got that, but that didn't work. And we eventually started like pitching it more as a corporate training tool. So how corporate training academies have like these skill development programs where if an employee is in point A in skill set, whereas like communication skills, technical skills, or other things, how do you like put specific courses or modules in their path so that they get to the next position? But both of us didn't do sales. Both of us wrote like
Hmm.
proper code for even testing our APIs without onboarding one customer. So that was a mistake. I graduated. Jayant is 1 year junior, so I graduated. He went for his internship. We
You
both did.
both are same batch, is it?
He and Jayant are same batch.
Okay. Okay. You okay? Got it.
So yeah, I went for my master's because I didn't have clarity on. I felt like I didn't understand business enough, so why not go study it? It's like a classic mistake of a
Nice.
very expensive education loan. But
And at what point did you sort of realize? So, and just for the context, right? So you guys went to IIT Madras,
yeah,
right? And you went for your master's in CMU
yeah,
in what was the course?
software management.
Software management, right? So at what point in that master's in software management did you realize that it was not worth it?
When I saw people putting all their effort preparing for PM interviews and all the classes be more like structure your way of thinking rather than rapidly tested by real world deployments.
Mm,
So
mm, mm.
my turning point came when this there was this event in San Francisco that I went to, and I saw that people from all walks of life were just going all in with full conviction on whatever they were building without having like a plan B. And I thought that that seemed like a good way of living. So
Yeah,
try
either go
to
all in or like don't do it at all, right? So,
exactly. So tried something. It was the earlier product was just a AI contacts app where like right now you have those pendants and all. Mine was very simple. You just drop a voice note of who you met. It'll scrape their LinkedIn and all and like make a proper entry in your contacts book so that whenever you want to search something like who are the computer vision engineers I know in say Bangalore, it'll give you a list of entries. And that's what I originally made. Tried it with a business co-founder, didn't pan out. January happened. I was like, shit, I need to drop out or do something, which is also around the time Sudarshan dropped out. I think January 24, right?
yeah, so a little earlier than no, I dropped out 1 year earlier than that
Oh, you
actually.
dropped out.
So
I
oh
don't know.
no, 2 years earlier than that. So I dropped out
BCSD.
in yeah, yeah,
Oh,
yeah, I dropped out in 2022, I think
oh
2022.
damn.
Yeah,
I think
yeah.
you started posting about the Avaz models and other
Yeah, so
things.
so I had a stint in a company after I dropped out, and then
Okay.
I did Smallest AI. So
Oh.
yeah, yeah,
So I came across your story also. I was like, yeah, this seems like the right thing to do. Other people are also doing it. So I reached
yeah.
out to him and I messaged him saying that if I leave everything and come back to India, will you start a company with me? And then
And
he
you
was
were
like,
in college back then.
yeah.
Yeah,
Uh,
yeah.
you were in college,
So then he said,
and
send a Calendly link.
okay, nice. And how did Jayant? Did you also know Jayant through your entrepreneurship endeavors?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Is
So
what
Ankit and
was
Jayant were building course map. So that's
okay?
how they knew each other. And like this was last semester of Jayant in institute. So we both were participating in hackathons, and like he was trying to build his own company, and like I was trying to build my own. And that's when we used to have like multiple interaction of how we can work together and like build. So 2 3 hackathons we participate, and like we have high conviction of working together.
Yeah. And the moment he
Got it.
realized that we started working together, that same week he said that I want to join you folks. And he had like multiple offers also,
Yeah.
like very
Hmm.
good job
Yeah.
offers.
We tried our best to make sure that he
Not,
doesn't join.
yeah, we came on that call. So basically, me and Gupta started working on that a Saturday. Friday, the upcoming Friday, Jayant figured out that we knew, and he came on call with us. And for like an hour or so, we tried pitching him not to join us because we are not happy. We don't know what we'll do. This might not even pan out. Next day, he texts saying that he has convinced his parents. So we are like, now you're in.
Yeah, he had
So,
multiple placement offers. He left all of them. Like,
Yeah.
yeah,
so is it like you guys really love working together? The
Yeah.
idea is the second thing. Obviously, that's a market opportunity and your strengths ka combination. But like, would you say that's true? Like, you guys like absolutely love working together, and that's one of the reasons sort of you
Yeah.
started.
that's it.
Yeah,
That's what gives
interesting.
confidence also, right? Like whatever it ends up happening. See, even we are early on in the space, still a young
Hmm.
company, so we're figuring it out. But we know that we like solving technical problems together. So,
Yeah, yeah. And tell me a little bit about so when you were starting this company, how did you go about ideas and sort of coming to this idea? I get what Abhishek said that you tried a bunch of things, ultimately realized B2B SaaS, right? But then there are other decisions to make as well, which vertical to go in, which country to go in.
Yeah,
How did you sort of brainstorm and arrive at
yeah,
recontact and which is now Riverline.
yeah.
so I'll start with the
Yeah.
early days. You tell about the US
Later, yeah.
India decisions and all. So we started with a problem that we were facing that time is that as founders you take user interviews and there is no way right now to like condense all of it into like insights that you can use for building specific products in a business. And in school I'd studied something called as affinity mapping, which UX designers used to do, where they would tie in together similar statements or contexts and that would stitch together what they should work on or what their customers care about. So we were like, other founders are also facing this problem. Why not build for it? We built something for it, shipped it. We even made, I think, $150 by selling that thing to other founders. But very quickly realized that for them, UX research was not the top priority, and UX research in general is not the top priority for any company. The number of minutes that are generated are not high enough for analysis, and analysis itself is not frequent and that important anyways. So we tried this in the UX research space, that can we sell a product. We saw other competing products also what they were eventually doing. They eventually went into sales call analysis, customer support call analysis. So we thought that this is not something which will pan out. So we said that why not just go and ask people who are like taking massive amounts of calls how they analyze these calls and why is it important to them. So for about 2 months, we just spoke to I think close to 300. Like we had, by that time we had spoken to 300 400 people across multiple verticals in multiple industries. So he was looking at fintech
Yeah.
and insurance. I think
Yeah,
I
I can continue from here. Yeah.
yes, take it forward.
So like, despite we knowing the fact that okay, UX research product is not pushing, but the companies were still existing and like they were making sale in the same segment. So we are also pushing that okay, someone will buy this product. So I used to reach out to people and say that can you buy this product? Like test out. This will condense all of your customer conversations. Then
So
apparently,
could
yeah.
you tell a little bit more, like one, two liner on the product? Like how did that work? UX research, right?
So right now I'll give you a context of what happens in UX research. So they'll call people of a particular cohort and like ask them certain question. How do you do this right now? What are you spending on this? and what is the aspirational state that you want to get out with this particular product. And based on that, they'll decide features across, combining this insight across multiple user interviews of what problem customer is facing in the existing app, what they want. And then while we were selling this product wherein they can use this tool to basically condense all of this information across meetings, wherein they don't have to make manual notes, condense all of this, all will be done by our tool. We figure out like people are not buying this, firstly because they have only 5 to 6 meetings in a
Hmm.
week, and they can have everything on tip of their toe, right,
Hmm.
tip of their finger.
And
So
just
yeah.
to differentiate this from like how would the sort of integration, is it a note taker for meetings? Like is that how it worked, or is it like a different interface of
It
this?
sits on top of Firefly's
Okay,
like existing note taker tools, and you can upload audio and video files also that will uh,
got it,
yeah.
got it.
Yeah. And while we were pushing that product, I reached out to some person. Our major focus was in US, but I reached out to one person in India saying that your product manager, can you buy my product? He upfront said that I won't buy this because I have like 4 or 5 meetings in a week. But one
Hmm.
thing that you can help me with is my customer support team speaks in 10 different languages. I don't know what are they speaking, and I don't know like what language is this, right? So
Hmm.
can you help me condense those information? And that's when we figure out, okay, in India, voice analytics and regional language is something that we can look after.
Mm-hmm.
So that's when we got a bit of hunch that no one is like looking after this particular market. And then we decided across among ourselves, okay, let's look at India market, regional language,
Hmm.
what are the problems they're facing in customer support, right?
And just to take a step back, like when you said you reached out to 300, 400 people, and you said you were mostly focusing on US, how did you reach out to these people? What was your method of who were these people who you were reaching out to, and what did you sort of engage with them on?
We had a proper set of templates in LinkedIn in place. So I
Okay.
remember, I don't know, like he used to write brilliant cold emails, and he like you can share about them
Yeah.
as well. But mostly it was like LinkedIn may you find a person, you try to connect to them with a add a note where you customize something. Then if
Mm-hmm.
they reply, you try to book a meeting. If they connect but they don't reply, there is a follow up message,
Yeah.
and then there is a follow up message. So we used to do this manually
Yeah.
just to get
It was all
meetings.
manual, like
Yeah.
Yeah, yeah.
everything you did.
Yeah.
Oh, wow. And how did you? So I think this is so there are steps in cold outreach, right? First one is like prospecting, like even sort of
Hmm.
understanding who to reach out to. So
Correct.
how did that happen? And then I understand the next steps were fully manual, but how did you know who to reach out to?
So we were looking for companies that are more than 20 employees and have a dedicated product manager or UX researcher.
Got it,
So
got it.
that's how we used to segregate.
Interesting. Okay. So you did that and you realized that you did not get good attraction there because the frequency of usage was very low and maybe the problem was not that burning.
Yeah.
But you realized that in India, when you spoke to someone, they had this language issue. So what happened next?
So then we figure out, okay, there's something in India in regional languages. What can we do? And like it's uncharted territory. We don't know like which industry to fit in and like all of that. So we decided divided industries among ourselves. So I was looking at insurance and banking, wherein like I'll talk to customer support people in this particular industry and figure out what are their problems. Ankit was looking at e-commerce logistics. Jayant was looking at like hospitality and other. So that's how we divided entire India like landscape across multiple industries. And like our job is to hunt for customer support head, talk to them, understand their problem, and like is this a valid problem or not? Right.
Hmm.
So
Okay. And again, the reach out was same, like cold outreach you're doing. Okay. So how did it go from the regional languages is the problem for call analysis to going into debt collection
yeah.
and yeah.
So I spoke with a fintech company's customer support head. I won't name the company, and they told me that my customer support, whatever problem you are saying, is real, but it's not hair on fire for me. But my customer support team is 30, my debt collection team is 300, and at times people cross the boundaries to collect debt because they are incentivized to collect debt. Can you build something for that particular segment of debt collection call analysis? And then we had some conviction, and then we spoke with multiple other fintechs who were facing the same problem, and then we had like enough conviction to go behind this particular problem of debt collection call auditing, to
Yeah.
basically have a review of like what happens in a debt collection calls across languages and across all callers. So
So tell me something, just to take a step back. So you interestingly called them fintechs, right? You
yeah,
didn't say it's a NBFC, you
yeah.
didn't say it's a bank. Uh, aren't they like supposed to build the tech to do these things? Like if they are like fintech, like what is the tech that they are doing if they are not using intelligence in debt collection? Like what is the industry landscape like? How is the modus operandi today? If you sort of could lay that out, what does a typical sort of contact center for debt collection today look like, and what should it ideally look like? I think which is what you guys are, I guess, trying to bridge. But let's
Mhm.
start with what it is today.
Yeah.
Hmm.
So one thing is very clear across industry, debt collection is not considered as like very core operation that is tied
Yes.
to their business. So every innovation that you'll see fintech having or even NBFCs
Underwriting.
having will be along the lines of underwriting. How can I make sure that my underwriting is better, or my
Mm,
app flow is better? How can I get more and more people signing up for my app? Like my marketing is better, my features
mm,
are better, and like whatever credit offers that I give are better. And so like collection is always considered as like outsourced,
Hmm.
like not that important sort of thing for most of the companies in India. And like how this currently operates is people hire collection agents. They'll be a or they'll hire a BPO agency who will do collections on behalf of them. They'll just give them the list, and like they'll just left and right they'll call them, text them,
Hmm.
like abuse or harass at times to basically make sure that they get the money back. And this is all happening at a agent level. So agent gets some through 200, 300 cases, debt collection cases. Now it's up to his cognition with whom to call, when to call, and right whom to prioritize. If he's in a bad mood, customer gets a bad experience.
Hmm.
So
mm.
it's very subjective and like tied to manual operations.
And is it so when we talk about this debt collection, what is this sort of firstly you said everyone outsources it. So do you mean banks, fintechs, NBFCs, whoever is writing loans, they all outsource debt, or are there others also, like even a business whose outstanding invoices are there, they also outsource? Like what is the breadth of this? Who all outsources
So
the
like not entire operations are outsourced like from end to end. So they'll do some part of it in house. Let's say first 30 days of debt collection they'll do in house. After that they'll outsource. Some companies run parallel operations. They'll do some level of outsourcing for very risky cases, and for like low risky cases they'll have in house. So
Hmm.
Hmm. And how do you determine the risk in this case? And so, for example, you mentioned 30 days, right? Like, what is special about those 30 days? Like, why do they keep it in house? And are there regulations around some of this? Like, if you could sort of, why do they operate this way? If you could give a brief on that.
I'll paint a picture of what a traditional collections head's day looks like. So picture
Yeah.
yourself, you're a collections head at a fintech. You are supposed you like your fintech gave out loans to folks, they didn't pay back. So now you have at your disposal a in-house call center as well as some external collection agencies, and you are supposed to recover the money back. So the initial days, which is like the first 30 days, this is even a term in collections called DPD 30, or they call it sometimes bucket zero. There are multiple terms for this. These
Full
are
form of DPD is
days past due.
days
So
past due.
yeah, if your EMI defaulted on say today's 8th June, then days past due for 8th June would be DPD 0, 9th June would be DPD 1. So DPD
Hmm.
30 would be 30 days past due of your EMI. So because it is relatively easier to collect from people who have just defaulted, so they have an in-house team and they use systems like IVR, or they will use push notifications on SMS as reminders, something even on WhatsApp, and they have their call center team who is calling people. And depending on how technologically advanced the fintech is, they have some method to calling, like which is a risky customer we should call first, or which time to call a customer. And you are a collections that you're operating this team, and 30 days pass. Now you realize that I can't recover some debt, and again, like because defaults happen every month, so new month's defaults will also come in, and you're like, this is too hard to resolve. So what you'll go and they say is that I'll find external collection agencies who literally what they do is they have a team of their own call center agents. They will take your cases, and it is their job to now call people who have defaulted or text them and recover that money for you by charging a commission. So right now, this is how it works. If you're a small fintech, you're typically working with 10 to 12 collection agencies. If you're a larger bank, you can go all the way up to like HDFC and all. They go easily like 700 also. But
Yeah.
their reason for even 700 is because now in some collections, you need to be on ground to go visit the person to understand what is happening and collect the money back. And where we initially saw this problem arise, see now you're like picture yourself as a collections head. You are dealing with your call center team, you are dealing with call center team of like other people's collection agencies, and you have a lot less oversight into what is going on in these calls because they're across languages. You want to check for compliance. That is a regulation that RBI puts in place where the agent cannot be too rude, too threatening, too abusive. They can only call between a certain time, like 8 a.m. to 7 p.m. So all of these things are the things that you need to abide by, and escalations are expensive. So the earlier product literally was what there used to be a QA team who used to listen to say 2,000 of these calls, and that QA team used to be like 2 lakh rupees of monthly burn for them. We came in and said that, see, we have AI, we know what compliance characteristics you care about. We'll transcribe and run an LLM across all these calls, and for like 2,000 calls versus 2 lakh rupees, we'll do 20,000 calls for some 25,000 rupees. So it was a massive cost saver for them, and they were able to get more oversight into all of these calls that were going out on their behalf. So this was the picture of the first product we built. I think we were 7 months into the business by then. Like seven
When
months
was
into
this?
starting. This is last September.
Yeah.
Last September is when we got our first customer through a cold email. So we used to write cold emails to everyone.
Yeah.
This
Yeah.
particular one was, and we used to have like these catchy one like hooks into it. Now the founder liked it, and we got intro call, and our first product was a Google Colab notebook. So
Hmm.
literally, it used to use a transcription model from DeepGram, transcribe all these calls. Then there was an LLM which ran over it and checked for specific things in place, and the output was Excel sheets. So this is
Interesting.
literally what September, October looked like
Till
for us.
January.
No, no, because after that you and Jan went to those
Yeah.
NBFCs and you built a risk also around it.
Yeah.
Maybe, yeah, you can tell.
So
So, but just to now take a step back a little bit, you mentioned, okay, people have in-house call centers and then they outsource once it goes 30 days past due. And what is the one thing is, okay, you understand this is a problem and you know the way it's done is not efficient. The other thing also you understand is how big is the problem. So
Hmm.
how much debt today goes after 30 days? Like how much debt is not paid even after 30 days? How much debt is not paid like on the due date, which is 0 to 30? Do you have a understanding of this in India, in US, and sort of what made you? I understand that India is exciting because it's a regional sort of, it's an even more difficult thing, but market size wise, what is your estimate here?
yeah. So I'll give you a particular number that will be helpful. So let's talk about personal loan and credit card loans because these are the loans wherein like you'll have high volumes and like low per ticket size of loans. So these are like most difficult to collect because you can't send field agent like for every particular case.
Of course.
It's
Yeah.
expensive, right? So just talking about India, like credit card and personal loan outstanding right now, it's around 17,000 crores.
Oh, so this is at any given point of time there is 17,000 crores
Yeah.
of loan that is outstanding. And is this number increasing or decreasing? Do you have a estimate? I'm assuming it's increasing
Yeah.
because more credit cards are getting issued,
Yeah.
right?
Yeah. So it's around $2 billion of loan is just lying around uncollected as we speak.
Interesting. And what is this in United States or like because typically one of the things in B2B SaaS people think about is market size, right? Is there a large difference in like credit that is not paid in the US or other countries, other geographies? Did you do maybe get the chance to do that analysis?
So we did some calculation on like back of the envelope. We figured out okay, US market is significantly big enough, but then we also tried to question ourselves like if we want to choose between India and US,
Hmm.
like how will we
Hmm.
choose about it? And like we had a very long discussion on this. So certainly we figured out like why do companies shift to US in first place when they are capping out and like the market is getting saturated in first place,
Hmm.
wherein like you can't go beyond let's say 100K or 1 mil ARR, but
Hmm.
given this market that was like not a blocker at all. Second thing was given if we go to US, like the amount of efforts that we need to put again in building connections and like getting a design partnership with a company will be way higher as compared to, given that we have already established like strong partnership with like leading NBFCs over here in India, wherein we are sitting in their office for a month, know what the actual problem is, and have industry connects. And thirdly, more along the lines of, we ourselves like as a founder wanted to be in India and like experience this growth journey for at least an year, and if it like caps out or it doesn't work out, then we were more than happy to go to
Yeah.
Another key deciding factor for us was also amount of funds we had.
yeah
Because the amount of money that we had raised, by then we knew that it will give us a runway of 1.5 year in US, and we
How
knew that.
much, if you could tell, how much
Yeah,
had
we
you
can
raised?
tell
yeah
now. By
Yeah.
then, we had around 250K in commits, and we knew that that would come. Now, the thing was, if you go into the US and three of us are living together, and you want to now be bullish on like continuously testing different things,
It's
that
very
amount
less. Yeah,
the
it's
amount
very
of funds
less.
is very less. And we
Yeah.
figured that, see, as long as three of us stick together and they keep doing things, this will eventually keep increasing our odds. And that's what ended up
yeah
happening also. And the second
Yeah.
thing which I'll just say, Sudarshan, is that now the story and like our focus has also changed. Like now we are not into B2B SaaS anymore, for which US is like a great place to build just because of ticket sizes. Now we are more on the lines of providing the service of collections on which we on which we charge a commission. So it's a very
Hmm.
different model because now your output is based on how well your AI agent as a service provides.
Yeah.
So
yeah
So
for
you're
that,
you're a smart agent today. Today the
yes,
agent used to take commission, instead you are taking the commission, and you're probably doing it much more effectively, and that's
correct,
why banks should choose you, basically, or
exactly.
anyone should choose you. Got it. And uh, just to a little bit double click on, I think we never talked about your fundraise
yeah
journey. How did you, at what point did you sort of decide to raise, and how did you end up raising? Who were these initial early people who sort of gave you that 250K?
I'll go with GradCap and
Yeah,
later on you can take that.
yeah,
Yeah.
So this fund called, I want to give them a shout out, called Grad Capital by Abhishek Sethi and like Pratik Vera. And so like we knew them because they invested in other companies in like our institute, our friends. And like I was in touch with them for 1.5 year. And then one day I got a call from them about like knowing what we are building and like just to catch up. And then next day we got a call, another call with another partner, Abhishek Sethi, and then immediately he said that we want to fund you. Like he didn't even ask in detail of what we are building and like how big is the market, like how big is the team and all of that. He just said that we want to fund you guys because we see that passion. And like they funded us in August, right? It's been around 8 to 9 months, and like they never ask us like what are we building and like how are we going about it. So
very supportive.
yeah,
Yeah.
very supportive in that
Oh,
aspect.
I mean, I am also a huge fan of GradCap. I've never personally worked with them, but I like anyone who's sort of going early into colleges in India, finding talent really quick and saying, "Hey, we think you guys are a good team, and you guys want to do a startup. We are sure like you'll figure it out.
Yeah,
Here's some money to figure it out." Right?
Exactly.
I think the biggest issue with like students is that you just don't have capital or risk-taking ability, but I think how much do you get? 50K or something?
We raised
Is
40K.
40K.
We raised
Yeah,
40K
40K.
from.
40K is significant money for, bunch of college kids in IIT, right? To say, "Okay, let's do something of our own." So I think I hope
that
more of that happens. Yeah.
that was a massive unlock for us, like to be honest, like because every expenses we were incurring were from our pockets, and it was becoming day by day very difficult for us to operate.
Yeah, of course. And like, imagine 40K, I mean 30 lakh rupees. Suddenly, it's given to you, like, do whatever you want. Even if you get a best job, you will not see the 30 lakhs entirely on one day, right?
Yeah,
It will come. But this is like, hey, here you go, right? So,
exactly.
I think it's so interesting. And then the remaining 210K, how did
So
that?
when we raised from grad capital, we were I think 7 6 7 months into the company itself, and 4 more months into it because we were very bullish on collection call analysis, and we figured that there is like now we need to double down on analyzing these calls for more and more companies. We need to hire. We ourselves are also seeing the grad capital funds deplete because we paid for some SOC 2 compliance and other travel
Hmm.
expenses. So we saw that we needed some money. Now the amount that both of us came up with was we needed some 20 lakh rupees. Like that's the intention with which we went out, that we want to raise this much. And by then we had like applied to so many accelerators. That year we got rejected by some 10, 15 accelerators twice by YC in that year itself.
Yeah.
And this is all interviews. So we used to interview like with each cohort of YC. Even this year we interviewed.
Yeah.
And by the third time though, we like he was sleeping. We woke him up. That same partner comes. We're like, you tell us what's going on. He's like, guys, we have 10 minutes. And that's how the conversation kicked off. So we started reaching out to angels who we had known from the industry, or had like warm connects with, or some past history with, and that's how we started. So couple of folks like the first check that from the Indian club that
Yeah.
person put, he was just a warm connect who we used to go to for advice, and he said that whenever you folks are raising, let me know. I'd be happy to come in with a check. And
Hmm.
similarly for the other angels also, either it was him, me, or Jayant, someone knew
So
them,
your institute and your seniors and all these guys were really
people from
helpful.
the industry that we would have met, and they saw some conviction and some potential in our story and us as a team. So
Hmm.
we started reaching out to those folks, and eventually, what ended up happening was like this is just introspecting, is that we didn't have a set number in mind, because every time we hit a number that okay, this much has been raised, we were like, but we're still talking to these people. What if they come in with a check?
Hmm.
So like the process ended up becoming 1.5, 2 months easily of just like conversations, and we were very clear that we didn't want to raise a seed. We didn't want to put effort into a deck. So there is just one
Hmm.
Notion based memo that we had made that all that
Yeah,
capital
I
has been,
remember that. Yeah,
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 that all that. Oh yeah, you also forwarded it in your network.
Yeah.
yeah.
Like one two people from his network also invested. So it was like we just reached out to people who could warmly introduce us and ideally tell us yes or no within max to max 5 6 days. So that's how we started about it, and we reached out to a couple of angels, and they introduced to their other folks who'd be excited, and that's how we got around. From that, we got around 320k. Yeah, 326k. And while we were doing this, we also applied to South Park Commons, because Giants, who's sitting here right now at home coding, said that he didn't want to code from home because he wanted a separation. And we knew that SPC, if you apply for a membership, you get to work from there. So we applied to them, like standard form, filled it very quickly. And then we had 3 calls with them. And then after that, I think the process took 3.5 weeks. I remember I get a call from one of their partners. These two folks were trying to open a pressure cooker, and they were making a lot of noise. And that guy calls and says that, "Hey, folks, we're excited to work with you." And we were a bit confused, because I thought that okay, they gave me a membership to work from the
Hmm.
spaces, and I said, "Can my two co-founders also come and work?" He was like, "Guys, we're funding you as a team. You'll also
Okay.
get this," and
So you
that's how.
got the fellowship.
Yeah, the
Yeah.
founder fellowship. And with
Okay, so
HPC also,
that's
it has been like so amazing.
Yeah.
Like the team, the level of questioning that they will ask, so that you introspect and you act very fast. It's very, very good. Like I would
The community
genuinely,
itself.
even the community, the sort of talent you run into over
hmm.
there in the space itself, it's very good. And that just unlocked in us to dream bigger than just, okay, by then we were building AI debt collection agents, voice AI, we were starting even with WhatsApp, but they enabled us that no, folks, you have to think bigger. And that's how like he can even talk about how this eventually leads to a bank, but we're now thinking as like a way longer term plan.
And what's just to so SPC gives 400K, so you had 370 something, so you have raised around seven hundred and fifty
And then
thousand
last
dollars.
100 came from other VCs we had talked to, who just saw that okay, some person is coming in with a big check. They said that hey, we also wanna come in again,
Hmm.
and
Nice,
that's how that raise happened very fast. So last 100k, but
nice.
like we remember that there were 2 weeks
Yeah.
where even raising 80k because we wanted to reach a particular milestone was very hard, and
Yeah, that's how it is initially, and then when some people put in the money, then everyone wants to put in the money. So it's an interesting world. But so you uh, okay, and I mean you were mentioning now you want to become a bank. So let's. I mean, I wanted to. I think we went along this tangent because you mentioned something about the fundraise, and I just wanted to sort of understand that journey really well. This has been very interesting and So I think the learning out of this is like grad capital is a great place to sort of start. SPC obviously is a great
Mhm.
place to start, and then for you also it was almost a year of sort of journey while fundraising. But do
Mhm.
you think the next time, let's say, the Riverline becomes very big, you guys do a whatever IPO or you get an exit, uh, and you start your next company, what would you do differently during raising? Would you do the same thing? Would you?
Set a timeline, set a number, and close once you hit that number in that timeline, and then just say no to any folks who want to come in later. That's one thing, because you end up spending a lot of time which you could have otherwise spent on like customers and product itself.
Interesting. And how do you, again, the warm intros, and that's how you'll start? You'll start with the angels first, or would you go to VCs first? How do you structure that?
By then, Angels VCs would have become bomb. If you really feel a good outcome
Yeah.
out of it, VCs would
Yeah,
have become bomb. So you would ideally want capital to be very quickly sorted out for your company. So you might go to a VC for a bigger check,
mm,
and from there onwards, you will then just focus on building a team, your customers, and your product.
Yeah.
So
I
interesting.
think, but for the first time founders, even like why, like we contribute a lot of our angels help to helping us in raising our VC round because
yes,
they come in with like small checks that eventually piled up to 326K,
yeah,
and
Mm,
that eventually shows up that okay, these guys can raise, and like it's very rare that someone raised just 326K out of like multiple
yeah.
angels.
yeah,
And so it's very difficult to convince a VC in very early stages wherein like you don't have, but it's very easy to convince angels, and
Hmm.
those small checks like help you survive 1 month more, 2 month more, and
Exactly.
yeah.
yeah,
I mean, I think I've seen both the parts. Like, it depends on whether you already know angels. So, for example, I think for us, it was like once a VC committed, we had like angels coming in the left, right, center.
Yeah.
There were some angels who had committed, but then we sort of saw you know, the
Sky.
growth in angel checks once some big VC committed because they know the round is happening, so they're like risk averse now. So I mean, they're not risk averse; their risk is taken care of. So that's what we had seen. But
Also, one thing which I would recommend anyone raising angel round is always optimize for quality. You can get a small check, but the person, if you are very good, like the person is very good, they want to help, they're excited. That will mean way more than a much bigger check from a person who's treating this as a business transaction. And we've said no to folks as well, like
yeah,
which we didn't.
yeah,
Even though the money seems very
lucrative.
lucrative, you don't go forward with that because at a level you understand you'll be dealing with a person at the end of the day. So
yeah.
that's one advice which I would just pass on to anyone who's doing this.
Okay, so let's continue where we left off regarding the debt collection industry size that we were talking about that. So you
Mhm.
mentioned this is a 2 billion size, and when you did the market analysis, you thought that this has not yet, you'll be able to get to your first $1 million in revenue through this, right? So,
Correct.
and you're not doing B2B SaaS, is what you also mentioned.
Yeah.
So, if you could double click on this, how are you not doing B2B SaaS? What is different? And second is, what's that plan to sort of hit that 1 million ARR in India? What is it gonna take?
Yeah. So for one clarification, like 2 billion is not the market size; it's just the outstanding loan that's there in personal loan.
Yeah, that's fine. Yeah, understood. Yeah.
And talking about like how we are different from a B2B SaaS, like in a B2B SaaS, you have to basically go and like sell the software product to them, and like they are utilizing your product. In what we want to do is like we want to take the cases from them. We like right now we'll take cases. Let's say if they have 10,000 defaulters, we'll take 1,000 defaulters on us, and like it's our job to basically make sure that these defaulters pay. And like 6 months, 10 months down the line, we are planning to buy these loan books from banks, wherein let's say if they have 100 crore rupees of outstanding debt, we'll buy them those books at 90 crores or 95 crores, and then we'll resolve them, and like whatever margin that we earn, that's completely ours. And this sets us in a completely different spiral of making money rather than just being dependent on NBFC to banks to clear your checks and monthly.
Hmm.
Here you have a very different approach. You go and like buy the books and like increase your underwriting model so you can buy better books at better valuation as compared to any other.
Hmm.
Mm,
This
mm,
helps us first thing, like for doing this we need to become an NBFC or a asset reconstruction company. Basically these are companies who are allowed to collect the debt, right? And once we do this significant enough times, we will have adequate capital and reputation in the market to apply for a small finance bank license, wherein like we can go and serve like and actually disburse credit to other segments in India.
Hmm.
And then eventually there's a AU Small Finance Playbook that's very popular of becoming an NBFC, then become a small finance bank, and eventually you apply for a banking license. So that's our goal.
And even through this journey, what we realize is that we'd be operating on such different kinds of loan books and understanding defaulters in such a close fashion that we'll also understand that what kind of defaulter is underserved right now,
Yeah.
but we really understand and see the right way in which you can affordably give credit. So it gives a really strong wedge from this approach, like coming from collections and then building upon how you will do even risk analysis of certain kind of customers.
And thinking from first principles, how it makes sense is like you look at the bank that will be there in 2035, right? And look at the banks right now. Like if you observe any balance sheet, you'll find out 30 to even 50% of their operating expenses are just salaries, bonuses, like infrastructures, like facilities, and all of that. Like what if you can like cut down all of those operating expense and pass the benefit to the end user, the borrower, who is now taking loan at 24%, 30% from NBFCs, and like the as interest goes up, his like probability of paying back the debt is very less. So can you pass that benefit to others, so more and more people can affordably take loan and like actually pay back the debt? That's the end thing that we want to convey.
Hmm.
Interesting. So your TAM is kind of the entire banking TAM of India, not the debt collection TAM, like as you go into the loans business and you
Yes.
grow bigger.
And it's a
Very interesting.
it's
Yeah.
ambitious
Yeah.
enough task also,
No,
like
that's good. I mean, yeah, I mean, you either do ambitious or you don't do it, right? I mean, there's no point in doing like mediocre stuff. So, it's a great aim to have. And if you could double click a little bit on what does it take to become, I think your first milestone then is to, I mean, the first big milestone would be to get the NBFC license, right? What's the journey to that? You mentioned AU Finance Playbook. What is that? How does that look?
Even before that, the
yeah.
first milestone would be getting to a point where you can identify the right kind of loan book that we can buy and resolve.
Yeah.
That will be the
But
first milestone.
do you need the some license to buy loan books, or that is something you can just buy?
So we need to basically figure out the regulatory and like legal frameworks to basically get through. Either you partner with an NBFC or you partner with an asset reconstruction company to do that. And like one step before that, I would say is something that we have to like achieve practically is beat other human-based collection agencies, uh, like at their benchmark. So let's say if they are able to collect 10% of the portfolio right now during a month, we want to go and like at least get to a point where we are also able to collect 10% portfolio with human plus AI systems. So that's the first thing that we are looking at. Beat industry benchmark and then like successfully buy portfolios and resolve them.
But I was just thinking, like, to become a bank, there are two ways to do it. One is you could start by the debt collection sort of process, which you guys are doing. The other is to say, I'm going to partner with an NBFC and help them disperse more loans. All right. So you go into disbursement. Why start here? Because clearly, I'm assuming the number of loans getting disbursed. I mean, India is still, credit is very difficult. So why not do that?
Yeah.
It's core to the NBFC itself, no? Like disbursement and underwriting. If you're like NBFC or a bank who is more technology advanced, underwriting is very core to your business. Why would you partner with someone instead of building it internally? Whereas
Not
collection,
not partner. I meant you become like a
Distribution.
lead engine for them, or like you sort of try to get them data and sort of become a distribution engine for them.
So over here we have a
Just
very
this idea just came to me right now. I'm just
so
yeah.
so we were looking at like what are the technological unlock, like our wedge right now 23 like 23-year-old people is like technological wedge that we have over others, right?
Perfect. So you become Twitter influencers and you sort of advocate for like the best home loan platform is this, right? And you build that front end and the back end is some old NBFC. So you are 23, you're perfect, right? Like you can sort of build huge distribution on loans. And then this is just like
Yeah.
again I'm just coming up with ideas up my ass, but
Yeah.
uh,
Probably
yeah.
because of our biases, we felt a lot of unstructured data processing was possible in last 2 to 3 years. And like unstructured data lies over here in basically collection, where it's like very operationally driven. Like you don't have you ra- 2 years back you don't have a way to basically analyze calls. Like you don't have a way to basically place calls to people, analyze text and all of that. And that is the major technology unlock that helped us get into these banks and NBFCs. And distribution channel was always there, so you'll find all these education loan companies that are built starting as a distribution player, and then they progressively
Hmm.
go vertically up in the chain. And I
Yeah.
think that would for first principles, like that will require fundamental understanding of what where the industry is. Let's say if you want to nail the home loans space wherein you are able to generate really good, you need to have knack of like what is required in home loans, right? Let's say what credit is doing, like they are building a really
Yeah.
good marketplace for attracting people to take loans. Like their
Hmm.
disbursement are really good. So first thing, you'll need to have like clear cut understanding of where the market is, like what is the need exactly to generate lead. Secondly, you will require sufficient enough capital to go through that path also. This might be my bias, because I've seen like how credit is growing and like other companies are going. Let's say Grow started lending, Jupiter also does it, and they have like massive distribution channel built in first place so that they can do all of this, as compared to us who going out and saying
Hmm.
that buy loan from us.
Yeah, I think yeah, I mean this is just an idea I came up with like right now. And I'm sure like looking at Ankit's face, I think he's thinking something. So you guys will think on this is my guess, but
Yeah.
I get it. Like you probably this is just a completely new thing and the only reason I thought of this is like I'm assuming A, TAM is sort of bigger, more loans get dispersed than not recollected, and B, it's like today also, just like your debt collection agencies are collecting a percentage of debt, even loan agents take like a percentage of loan if the disbursement sort of happens to them. So it's like your model inverse can also be a business model. Whether you want to do it or not, that's a separate thing.
So,
It's just some
like,
idea that came
Yeah,
to me, right? Yeah.
yeah. I'm just still
we,
wrapping
we
my
never
mind.
thought about it, right?
We never thought about it because I was actually thinking more on the lines of qualifying a good lead. How much do we know about
Yeah.
it? Like if you're passing on a lead to a bank, essentially you're telling that person that based on what I'm saying, you go and disburse loan to this particular person. We could
What Sudarshan is trying to say is like don't even
interest,
go to that step. He said that just get them 10,000 books and they'll do
just
underwriting.
generate interest.
Yeah.
So that's the part I'm still thinking about.
Yeah.
So we used to work with a bank, and they used to give us like on this is not even like loan. This is just credit card disbursement. Every card they will give us like 2,000 rupees for the card that is disbursed, and like completely automated self-serve. We don't do anything. So we had this product, and some percentage of users were also getting the credit card, and so we used to get paid. And even with loans, like it was you give them leads per lead only they will pay you. If the disbursement happens, the payment is even more. But even if the lead sort of is decent, if they see that okay, out of 100 leads, 10 leads are buying, they are okay to pay you per lead also. So it's a interesting thing. But I think anyways, I think this I leave this tangent up to you guys to think. Uh, coming back to the debt agency model that you are building. So you said this is not SaaS. Your bigger aim is to today your I think your first milestone is to buy a loan book, and you're saying you're figuring out the regulatory requirements for that. If it is an NBFC license, then what will it take to? What was the AU Finance Playbook like? How did they get the NBFC? Do you have a understanding?
So we didn't go much deep into like how did they become NBFC, but we know for a fact that okay, how you can go from a NBFC to small finance bank, and like from small finance bank to a bank.
What does
So
that journey look like?
so if you want to become a small finance bank, so RBI, you can go and like read up on their regulation. So there's a PSL called private priority sector lending, wherein you have to lend to a particular sector aggressively. So they set benchmark of let's say 50% or 75% of your portfolio should be lent to this particular segment. Secondly, 50% of your loan should lie below 25 lakh rupees. So like I'm not like sure about the exact numbers over here, but these are the benchmarks
Got it.
that RBI set for a SFB, like small finance bank. And then similarly goes like if you're a small finance bank and you want to
You
become a
can buy.
bank, then again you have certain benchmarks that you should have like gross NPA should be lower than
Hmm.
3%, and then
Hmm.
you should
Hmm.
be
Hmm.
profitable for last 2 years. You should be a listed firm. So all of those regulatory requirements are there.
So yeah, I mean, okay, interesting. Your
It's a
ambitions are
13,
quite big.
14 year long journey, like to be
It's a
honest.
mountain to climb.
Yeah. So to give you a
So
perspective,
you
yeah.
guys are gonna be the probably the I don't know first IITian bankers, first sort of tech bankers in the
I've done this so many.
who has done this?
I don't know, but we've never
We would
done
love
the
to be the
research.
one. Yeah.
Yeah, and yeah, you'll be first something in the banking industry because I don't know anyone who's come from like this non-banking background and but I think kudos to thinking that big. I never got into this call thinking I'll be talking to a future bank, so that's very interesting. And I think the question I had was that okay, today you're saying that you start at the debt collection thing. What makes you smarter than other agencies? What is the wedge that you are sort of looking to create today?
So which changes from type of portfolio and like age of the loan book. So let's say if you are resolving a like very early stage loan, let's say people defaulted just yesterday, day before yesterday, or like last 15 days, then AI becomes helpful for following up with the people that okay,
Hmm.
boss, your like loan is due for last 15 days. Can you please pay back the debt? And that's when you have to master the art of conversion of AI voices and convincing people.
Hmm.
But when like the cases that we are focusing on are like NPA cases, like the people who don't pay for last 3 months, like 90 days have
Okay.
been passed. In this case, like people have already made up their mind of not paying, and like there are bad situation, bad times that these people go through. So over here, AI's wage is not to convince people and pay back the debt, but it's to qualify leads out of 20,000, 30,000 cases that you throw at me. Okay, these are the defaulters. Can how much we can get out of it? Our AI calling and like WhatsApp, Ankit can tell more about WhatsApp later, is just to like go through all of these cases and figure out what are the like 200 odd cases who actually want to settle the loan or pay back the debt and like want to get out of this debt trap. So
Hmm.
that's the vision. Now our job is to basically on those 200 like constantly follow up and like run our engine to figure out can we actually get the money from them or not.
Hmm.
As compared to a traditional collection agency who will just sort the list on like outstanding amount and like call one by one, whoever picks up they'll shout, yell, and try to get the money. So that's how it's been done traditionally. I think this is a more strategic way of let's say building a funnel of like how much you can collect the money and then just following up at the appropriate time.
Yeah, so Darshan, the key is actually how can you personalize for every defaulter at scale? So, for example, right now, the way a collection agency works is that an agent will sit in a call center. They'll dial a lot of people. You can say that they dial 120 people, 150 people, and depending on what portfolio it is, you can expect that they end up speaking with 20 to 40 people. Now, the way that the entire model works is that the agent is under so much incentive and pressure that they end up using force as a lever to convince the opposite person to pay the money back. And what we're realizing as we deploy more and more of these agents and we study these defaulters, we're able to see that how for different kinds of people you can enable them to repay the debt, which in a lot of cases they really want to. But sometimes they need more time. Sometimes they need just a waiver on a particular penalty that they were charged for, and they really are very conscious about clearing their credit because they also understand what it impacts. And there is also a bit in education also around these
Yeah.
defaulters where they need to understand what they're being charged for, how this will impact their future. And that is somewhere where we do it very differently from a collection agency, where we say, okay, we are not going to use some level of force or all of these threats that these folks use. We're actually going to sit, understand, figure out what is the best plan for you to come out of debt. Now that may be a AI WhatsApp agent who pings you right now, understands you have this much money, your salary is this much, you'll be able to pay this much right now, this much after 30 days. You might receive a call in your local language where a person talks to you and understands your problem. And as time passes, more and more things that we used to do a lot of these WhatsApp messages manually. We used to make calls. We see flows in collections which can be automated, which personalize the experience for the end defaulter. And that is how, just by using technology, you keep getting better and better as you learn more from the nature of these defaulters. So that's how we differ from the current collection agency model.
Just to paint a like very good picture about like how this is operating. So I was placing calls for like 5 days straight, and the loan portfolio that I was working upon was like blue collar workers. So actually like the calls that I got connected these people actually cried on the call, said that they want to actually pay the debt but they are not able to pay. And statistically speaking, like the amount these people are being asked for to pay out as like one time settlement thing is 60% of their salary. Now these people have average salary of 22,000 to 23,000, and a collection calling agent is asking them to pay 12,000 upfront over a call. That's not practically possible for anyone. And secondly, these blue collar workers are working in sari shops, factories, workshops, wherein they have to submit their phone to security guard the moment they enter the shop, right? And they can take only during lunch break or specific time. So it's not that they're running away after from the loan. It's just the practical way of communication, appropriate time of communication, appropriate debt restructuring that's not in place to basically collect. There's intent from like lender also to give some settlement discount to borrower so that they can pay. Borrower also wants to pay back the debt because no one wants like to listen calls and abuses all the time. But there's a gap between how this can be orchestrated.
Hmm. Interesting, very interesting. And so, have you had some success in this? So I understand. See, I guess when you go to someone who owes you money and you empathize with him, he'll obviously respond very, very positively. And what you mentioned about, hey, I'll be a little more lenient to you. You don't have to pay right now. You can pay a little later. Obviously, people would like to pay as later as possible, right? So how do you sort of balance the structure of sort of empathy and I need to finally get the money and put it back in my books so that I make money. How do you do that? And have you maybe built up a hypothesis, maybe first tested this on a small cohort, let's say without AI, just manually just trying to reach out to these guys, seen some success, and then said, okay, now let's automate this at a larger scale and see what's your journey of learning this
So
been like?
this were like our weeks, like last 2 to 3 weeks. So we were working on a NPA portfolio, like NPA portfolio unsecured personal loan. Average ticket size was around 15 to 20,000 rupees of loan. So we placed these calls and we certainly figured we were able to recover around 90,000 rupees so far in this journey. Given that like none of us have like collection experience, right? And like just empathetically following up with people actually yield those results. Uh, so that builds some level of conviction. I can actually, without raising a voice single time during all those 6 days, I was able to collect money. People are remembering my name, they're saving my contact, and they call when they get free. Is some level of conviction we were having. But of course, you need to have like more like defined set and data set to basically build upon that hypothesis. So I spoke with collection head of that particular company and told her that, ma'am, like, do you actually believe that we can collect debt being polite? She said
Mm,
that one of the most performing, like good performing agents that we have right now are like the one who like talk politely and like engage with people, because you can't force money out of someone at that stage. It's just you have to convince, show them the benefit, like help with them and consult them to get the money back. Like that, that's the thesis we have.
Interesting,
And even
interesting.
if you look
And
at best performing agents in a lot of consumer fintechs and you observe the way that they talk, negotiate, it's like he said, it's more of a consultation where you really want the person to come out of a place of debt gone bad to them repaying and having a good overall credit history moving forward. And you will even
mm,
see RBI coming heavily on the level of regulations that it will put on the way you speak in these calls as well. Because
mm,
that is what will eventually play well for the defaulters as well. Like they are not continuously being threatened the way that
mm,
the previous version of call centers used to run.
Yeah. So to paint a
interesting.
picture over here, like how existing collection is look like a Vasuli Bhai coming with a gold chain and a black kurta with a tika on top of his head, like abusing and harassing people. We want to build a collection agent that's like someone who's actually consulting and making sure
Yeah.
that people get out of the debt trap, like restructuring the plans and understanding the problem. That's the way we want to reshape the how collection actually works and set benchmark for the industry.
What levers do you have in the restructuring? What are you able to offer, saying, like you mentioned, hey, don't pay 12,000,
Yeah.
break it. Like, what's the cost of that? And like,
Yeah.
what all? I mean, at the end, you can also say pay next year, right? Like, that is the best restructuring for the person. So, how do you restructure?
So, like what NBFCs usually assume on this sort of debt that goes beyond 90 days, 180 days, is that like eventually they write off, like they declare as a loss in their books. So whatever they recover is a sheer profit for them, like the money that they're getting from this. But still, like they have certain checks and balances in place that we can offer them a 50% settlement, wherein right? Let's say if someone is having 12,000 rupees outstanding, we can give them 6,000, ask them to pay 6,000, and everything will be closed, like will be settled. That's one extent that NBFCs even go. Like we have observed 30% also to them going to. And if people are actually interested in pre-closing the loan, so what NBFCs does is basically they'll split the loan in 2 months part, wherein like, okay, you have 12,000 rupees loan, your salary is 20,000, you can't pay all at once. Let's do it in 2 months or 3 months. NBFCs are okay with it as long as they don't have to put too much effort in following up with you, wherein like a lot of their manforce is involved. They are okay with restructuring and getting money a bit late, because anyway they have lost hope on these particular cases.
And answering your question, that the best outcome could be just say that pay next year. But what you're really trying to do is you're trying to essentially get the customer to start paying something, even if right now they don't have capital. So some people will pay whatever they suppose. If they pay suppose say 20,000, you go and say that can you at least start with 1,000, so that the person actually gets started with the mindset of paying back on the journey. You're taking the least amount of commitment by which you can trust a person that this person will actually pay back, and you essentially get them to that place. If you try to take like 10K from this person,
Yeah.
it's practically not possible for them to give.
Understood. And okay, so now in your journey, like politeness is one thing, and what is the role of AI and what is the role of technology in what you are doing, and how has it sort of helped you increase efficiency? Have you seen an AI caller or a AI sort of WhatsApp agent or whatever channel you're using be
Hmm.
as efficient as a human, or like what's the journey been so far there?
Hmm. Like I said, the wedge of AI is you understand the defaulter and you try to personalize it. So right now we're not like at a single defaulter personalization level, but we still
Hmm.
figure out cohorts and patterns and things that you can experiment. Say for example, uh, right now if we just deploy a WhatsApp bot and it's supposed to message someone, it'll take all of the context of the previous chat. We'll give it a vibe also. Say vibe can be something on the lines of give 30% discount to this cohort. So the way also it'll communicate is that it'll go through all the previous charts. It'll figure out what should my messaging be, where I can weave in this 30% waiver that I can offer to this customer. And we've actually seen engagement rise because of that, because more people are now understanding and they feel like they're talking to an actual person. So the goal is particularly using like why even use AI. See, one is so definitely you're scaling communications in a very good way. That okay, that language is there. His voice bot
Hmm.
goes and talks to people, like the one that Giant built. It goes and talks to people, and people actually have conversations where they describe problems, they ask it questions, it is able to answer for them. It sometimes even educates, saying that see, if you settle a loan, that means it will be marked as settled. It doesn't mean that your loan was closed. So on your credit,
Hmm.
this will still create an impact. So it's actually
Hmm.
able to engage these folks in conversation, while we on the back end go and study the data of these defaulters, and we try to understand that what is like the right channel frequency and messaging, that if AI is able to nail, you have very good odds of that person coming out of that. So that is our
Got it.
entire technical piece that we work on. Say, for example, what is the next best way to nudge a customer so that they are reminded of this, and then they start engaging and they eventually end up paying some part of the debt. So that is the recent thing that we're working on.
Understood. And then, like, but when you go and sell to like a NBFC who is giving you their NPAs, they'll want to know that today this agency is giving me this much profit. You guys can give me more than that, right? Like that's the confidence you need to have. So, do you have like some metrics saying ki, hey, like WhatsApp as a channel is working better. It will give, and because it's working at this percentage I can actually collect this much debt, and this is actually more debt than your other agency that is giving you. So, do you have like some early insights into what is working channel wise,
Hmm.
uh, or in terms of when you reach out and all those things as well, apart from the tonality of the bot itself?
More about the turns. So usually industry wide, like they just broadcast message, right?
Yeah.
You can tell that how people are engaging with our.
Correct. I mean, actually, I was thinking more on the line. This is also a great example that how traditionally, if some person wanted to nudge a customer on WhatsApp, it used to be a broadcast push message. That's it with a CTA. Right now,
Hmm.
it's more of it's just a conversational opener. It will be like not even a paragraph of message. It will be like two lines which starts a conversation with the customer. Ki kaise ho aap? The person will reply. This will engage, and we have average number of turns right now as 6. So basically, number of messages that the bot has sent out is 3. Customer responded back in 3 messages. So that is our duration length. But actually, I was thinking more on the lines of WhatsApp as a channel. We just see way better closing rates as in a flow, because call is like number one, it has to connect, so the person has to be available when the call happened. If they don't,
Yeah.
then you just miss your opportunity. But WhatsApp, if I send you a message, you can even respond at night, and my bot will still be
Hmm.
able to have a good conversation with you. So we see
Yeah.
definite improvement in there. One recent test that we also ran in a different kind of portfolio, we figured out that we were 34% cheaper than whatever was their existing call center setup. We literally, it's like comparing apples against apples. We said that on this set of cases, if this bucket, do not use AI and just use whatever you're using, and on this we will solely work. So these are
Hmm.
metrics that we figured out, and also we know for a fact that where all we even lack. So whenever, what does a collection head look for when picking an agency? Cost, how much money that you're able to recover, and are you compliant? Like these are the three things which any collection head will look for. Cost, we are cheaper. Amount of money that we collect back, we really need to get better at this, because we also know that there are flows where AI will not, like, it'll just hit a wall and
Yeah.
it'll not end up
Hmm.
collecting money even though the customer has intent or some indication of
Hmm.
it. Compliance, though, you can just always guarantee it will be there, because guardrails are very easy to monitor in these
Hmm.
conversations.
Interesting. How are we doing on time? Is it okay if we do 15 minutes more?
Just give me one
Uh,
second. I
Yeah.
need
yeah.
to text a person
Yeah.
that I was supposed to catch up with. I hope he texted back.
So we certainly figured out that it's not just AI can actually collect like complete end-to-end debt, at least at the point we are, because this conversation go even like for 10 minutes, like whatever we had.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And you are also sort of attacking the hardest of the stack, right? NPS. Like
Yeah.
you could have gone to DPD 0 to 30 and said, I'm gonna build a more efficient call center for you that can do more languages.
Yeah.
So that's an interesting choice. You sort of took the hardest of problem, but I think it's also easier for the NBFC to give you this, and then
Yeah.
maybe you could move your way up the stack, is my guess. Right.
Even as a business, it's a like you'll in India you'll find two like stacks of wherein like you'll find a lot of money lying. There's 0 to 30, and then there is like NPA cases wherein like you'll find
Hmm.
a lot of cases getting accumulated. So at times banks and NBFC don't even have enough collection agencies and like workforce to work on it. So these cases are lying in their Excel sheets, like no one being worked upon. So it's easier for them to give, and like the rewards are very like
Very
is
high. It's
significant.
all profit.
Yeah,
Yeah.
it's 30% is like direct commission that they give to us. So
Hmm.
that's very rewarding.
Interesting.
Also, in B0, we ended up playing the cost optimization
Yeah.
game. So it's like, how much cheaper can you be than current IVR, call center, and all of this? So you are always trying to bring down costs. But over here, you're trying to actually put in more effort into maximizing and figuring out more flows in which you can engage a customer and recover money.
It's
And
like pure sales.
yeah,
Like
Hmm. Interesting. Yeah, very, very nice. And I think just now, what is your next milestone that your very immediate milestone in terms of NPA using AI automation, personalization that you would like to hit, where you would be like, hey, like now we are sort of ready for the next level.
so the milestone that we want to reach next is basically beating collection agencies in collection. So for whatever portfolios that we'll take, of course, the same portfolio part of the same portfolio will be given to different human-based collection agencies, and we want to constantly compare ourselves against those agencies and at least beat them to the benchmark wherein like we are comparable to whatever collections that they are being able to do that. So that's
And do
our
you think so? If a NBFC is a good NBFC replaces a agency with you, that would be like a major success.
yeah.
Yeah.
And
Okay.
actually, on the technological and other product front, the milestone is, see, we've also realized the limitations of AI.
Hmm.
So, like, we figured that, okay, we are not good at predicting the next best action and cohortizing, like, figuring out what to tell to a customer. Then there is also that right now, AI can't resolve the most cases through and through. So, you do
Hmm.
need a person at the end who's a good communicator, who's able to pick up the filtered conversations for people who are showing indications of paying and actually clearing it. And like these are two things that we even decided that now we need to hire. Now this 3-person company really needs to now up its game if we are to hit the next milestone, which is like actually competing with traditional agencies right now.
Awesome. Well, all the best, and congrats on the journey so far. We'll do some quick questions just to sort of wrap things up.
What
One is,
like rapid some fire question?
yeah, like we'll do like short question answers. I mean, it's rapid fire, except I'm not prepared the questions. I'm gonna come up with it. Let's see if I'm able to. I think the
Yeah.
Like it's like some very short question round. You want to come? Sure. He just how do we put this in
okay.
where three of us are visible?
I think someone can come in the center.
Yeah.
Okay. So, first, let's just start with a simple one. What's each of your roles in this company today?
Sales.
Support.
Engineering.
What is support?
I mean, I like whatever customers we end up onboarding, and whatever is not the most like highest leverage technical activity that we
Oh, got it. So you're like the operating COO and
yes, because
CRO, CO, CTO, kind of. Right.
Yeah.
Interesting. Okay. What you have to say one thing about the person on your right, and for Jayant, that's him, that you really like and respect.
okay.
My right is Ankit. Okay.
Yeah. So yeah, let's start there.
So one thing that I admire about Ankit is he'll take whatever shots is required for the team, which I've basically observed since my third year. Like I've been working with him since my third year, and he'll go to the extent which is like the maximum possible, and then do things for the team. So I really love that character in him.
Clarity and
Awesome.
thinking and decision making always leads us to a place of money.
Okay. Interesting. And what about
Like,
Jayant?
yeah, I mean, heads down building. Like he'll. I was never worried about getting the tech sorted. So he'll make sure that things are out on time and like it's scalable. So like he can actually get things done and make sure the company moves.
Interesting. Who is your favorite founder in India today? Each of you one answer.
Sudarshan Kamath. But he's
Thanks,
not
thanks,
in India
guys.
now.
Okay.
He's not in
No,
India.
but yeah, I'm not in India now, so I've disqualified myself. So yeah, obviously I would have been the answer, but like now that I'm not there, yeah.
For me, I think it's Sridhar Vembu because like just look at the company that he's built. Like I don't have to talk more about that at all. So like
Yeah, Zoe is amazing. Yeah, yeah.
For me, it's Kedar.
Ankit,
Oh, I was about to say like Hyperverse team in
Yeah,
general.
yeah. Hyperverse team, like
yeah. Hyper was again, I think one of the very sort of rare deep tech early and that too, I mean, successes from India. Correct. Yeah.
so, like the
But
entire philosophy that they have is like next level.
yeah, really good engineers. A lot of my friends from Hyperverge are like amazing. So, what about you, Ankit? Now you can't give that answer.
No, yeah, I'm just thinking like then it's like friends of ours. So I like the Crusoe team a lot. So they
Okay.
are our friends from Insti itself, and the way that they've gone always about building product team, the excitement. I think you always love hearing from them. Actually, one person we met yesterday, which I would say is like a new favorite, also is Praveen from Two Hands. He's building the calculator that will be deployed in MSMEs across India.
Oh, the
So
guy who came on Shark Tank.
yeah.
yeah.
So we met him yesterday for dinner, and the level of clarity and planning he had, we are like, damn, we really need to up our game after listening to this guy. So that's another founder I really look up to.
Interesting. Bangalore or SF?
Bangalore. For me, it's
I'm
like very
thinking
easy.
For Bangalore, yeah. Like if you want to like place yourself for entire lifetime, Bangalore.
Yeah, definitely.
I'm
Why?
still
Why?
Huh? I mean,
Yeah.
it's more to deal with like I want to do something like being here for country. That's my number one reason.
Yeah, likewise. Like
Okay.
even I'm inclined towards being in India. Of course, like having a foot in SF is
yeah, same.
always helpful, but I see myself being based in Bangalore for most of my time.
Yeah, my thing would be like stay where your business is. So right now we know for a fact that we're building here. We'll get like the best insights here. But I'd say that like at least 3-4 weeks go to SF because
Yeah.
that is like it'll push technology to the fullest, and you'll see also what are things that you can.
And ambition. And
Yeah,
ambition to the fullest, I feel like, right?
yeah.
Yeah, yeah.
What about you?
And
I mean, he
No,
went.
same. I mean, very. So honestly, like, I really miss Bangalore food. Like, especially Amudam, like the whole like
Too much.
masala dosa from Amudam. But what I really like about SF is the ambition. Like you every day you end up meeting founders who are like much smarter than you, doing things that are much more ambitious than you. But I do also want to contribute to building the country, and my we have a major foot in India, hence. So obviously we see being a global company, but we'll have a good team in India as well. So uh, very very similar. Um, okay, and what is your who is your favorite investor?
Favorite
Favorite
investor.
investor.
Hmm. I'll go first. Like
Yeah.
right now, I know for a fact it's Krishna Swarup Kaluri. So the reason is I remember like he's always been motivating us to think more on way of decision making and thinking. So he even recommended a good book called Thinking in Bets, where you understand like are you actually making decisions and thinking in a rational way, or sometimes you're just reacting and don't judge your uh, thinking framework based on the outcome of what came. So
Mm,
that and like there have been fires where he has just been. Yeah, I once called him at 1 a.m. our time. He's in Palo Alto, so it was time for him. But he took that call, and we were in a very hot spot in company wise back then where he had to come in and put in a check. So he actually stood up to it, and in that 30-minute call, he asked me questions, and he just came in very quick. So
interesting.
definitely.
What is his background? Like
He
what did
built
he?
two companies, like he founded two companies. So he did his electrical, no? He did his
Yeah,
electrical engineering from IIT Madras some 30, 40 years back, I'm guessing, or more. Is it more?
like 83 something, I guess.
Yeah,
Yeah.
so probably more.
Yeah.
And then he went to Bay Area. He did two startups, one in medical and some other software company. And now he runs his own VC fund. And
Interesting.
like you first call itself, he got on with him and he's like a really big person, but then he just dropped the bar by sharing some of his college stories, and you're like, damn, very relatable.
Yeah.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. Interesting. What about you two?
For me, I would say it's Abhishek Sethi and Pratik Bera, because like I think these two folks sort of shared the story that we had with them. So they came in like very,
Yeah,
very even
Come fit
before
in, bro.
we knew what we were even building, and they're more of like friends, I would say. So we can just go and then share anything with them at any point in time. So I really like that kind of flexibility in them. So yeah, my answer would be
Even
that.
HPC for that matter.
Yeah.
Mine is Hyperverse team again, because like,
as investors.
yeah, as an
Yeah.
investor also, like they
Yeah,
change
they
the
do angel investing. Yeah, yeah, yeah.
so they change the way how we go about thinking, like even building business. So it's more along the lines of how you can build conscious business, like how Tata Trust built, like build like really really good solid pool of like profitable businesses, so that you can build and like do something that you would have done if there's no socio-economic pressure. Let's say build charitable trust.
Hmm.
Let's say building
Yeah,
organization
yeah,
industries, supporting people. So they
yeah.
shaped like how I think personally about building a business. So that's why.
Interesting.
Your favorite?
Oh,
We can
Yeah.
turn this.
my. I think so one good thing is we've had like multiple, like you guys have three, four names. I have three names, but if I have to choose one, I'd definitely say Weber from Better Capital, right? Because he has been, I think for us, his decision making is very sort of quick and sort of intuitive. Also, everything we sort of stand for morally and like generally resonates very well with him as well. Like just the way of thinking, US, India, even in India, how to build a company, what to expect at every stage of the company, all that, like just clarity of thought and lot of freedom to the founder and just well wish. Like I trust the founder, right? That way. Also, I have like great like 314 etc. is also amazing. So I have like multiple like Aarti Ramamurthy has been very helpful. But like if I have to pick like one, I'll go with better. So yeah.
Even SPC folks are really helpful.
Yeah,
They're
like
like,
Like
unmatched.
yeah,
I
and
yeah, I've never worked with these, but I've heard the same thing from like a lot of folks.
like
So
humility. Like if I were to describe like Pratik Mehta, Ankit Chaudhary, humility clarity,
and like pushing the boundaries.
yeah, and ambition. Like they will continuously. So every time we get into a meeting, we walk out thinking that there are like these things we need to now work on.
Yeah.
Hmm.
And even
Interesting.
Gopal for that matter.
Yeah.
Yeah, Gopal from SPC.
So our interaction with Gopal is another principal in SPC's New York team, and he questioned us about decision making. So that one dinner conversation that we had with him like changed so many things for us.
Yeah, like it unlocked speed in our company.
Yeah.
He said that he told one thing that be okay with your like. So we used to review each other's work and we used to like question, and we thought that that brought collective better decision making as a team. He said that no, just be okay with your co-founders making mistakes and figuring out while they are specializing in that one niche that they really want to grow in. So after that conversation, we like stopped reviewing all of the low level things. We align on major high level strategy, and then just like the person who's in charge just takes it off from there.
Yeah, you won't have time to do all that as you grow. So,
Yeah.
makes sense. Awesome. Thanks a lot for taking out this time on a Sunday. I think it's morning for you, and hope you have a good day. I don't know whatever your plan is, collecting debt. But thanks, and we'll hopefully do many more episodes as you become a large bank, and yeah, and hopefully you'll manage some of our money if we make that. Yeah. So thanks, guys. Take care.